The views and opinions expressed on any program are those of the producers and/or the persons appearing on the program and do not necessarily reflect the views and opinions of FRC Media, Bristol Community College, or the City of Fall River. The views and opinions expressed on any program are those of the producers and/or the persons appearing on the program and do not necessarily reflect the views and opinions of FRC Media, Bristol Community College, or the City of Fall River.
Well, hello. Welcome to Spindle City Straight Talk. I'm Chip.
And I'm CJ.
And it is Friday in the Riv. And remember, Monday is a holiday. It's MLK Day.
Yep, and we will not be here.
We will not be here. So we've got a lot of stuff to talk about today. So let's get those COVID numbers in.
Okay. COVID numbers.
Commander, Starship Commander.
COVID numbers from yesterday are 433,297 total cases. New cases is 5,545. Total deaths is 13,156. Total new deaths is 74. Bristol County, we finally got a new number, 43,148. On the Fall River side, we had 130 new cases, bringing us to a total of 9,907. And we went up 3 new fatalities, bringing us up to 253. And the city started.
And the beat goes on.
Yeah, and the city started its COVID vaccines this week over at Bristol Community College. I just saw a PSA from Tess Curran, and I was like, are they following the regulations, or are we going to see like we saw in Washington, where elected officials started getting the vaccines early? Hopefully everyone's following the rules, but you know, the elected monarchy always comes first.
The only rule is there are no rules. Exactly. And the rules are just the rules are a reflection of how our society is dismantling itself. And actually, before we went on today, I was listening to Rhode Island and their rules, and they were going over them, how they were going to be given out by this whole criteria of that they were going to determine, and one of the criteria was ethnicity. So again, here we have the people who always yell at everybody for being a racist. They're the most racist people in the world. You know, they say that dogs are colorblind, supposedly. Most animals are colorblind. They don't have the rods and cones in their eyes to see color, supposedly. And now we have viruses that can see colors. So we're going to give out stuff by ethnicity. And they were talking about how they're going to give them to store clerks. So what are we going to do? If you're a Puerto Rican store clerk, you get a vaccine. But if you're a Portuguese store clerk, you don't. Or if you're an Irish store clerk, you don't. I mean, this is so anti-American and racist. The hypocrisy of these people is just mind-boggling. I mean, talk about double standards, triple standards, quadruple standards. It's medical necessity. If you've got comorbidities and you're 75 years old, you should get a shot. No matter what color you are, no matter what ethnicity you are, and you should get it before AOC. And you should get it before people who don't have any comorbidities. They're just politicians, as you said. This is outrageous. This entire thing shows the dismantling of this nation. This country is falling apart, and all they do is affix labels. And this is how they dehumanize people. What did they do with the Jews? They had pictures of Jews with big giant noses and money And they made them a less than human, a subhuman race. So it justifies persecuting them, just like China is doing now with the Muslims. And we stand idly by and watch this crap, and then let them say that everybody that was there, they were all racist because they were white. No, they were all idiots. And they weren't all white, by the way. As a matter of fact, they just said that the FBI has issued charges for an Antifa activist who was there, said he was there just to film, but they've proven with some of the stuff he posted that he was there to incite. Are they right? No. But were they right all summer? No. Yet these same politicians with their double standards, don't you see the irony here, people? When are you going to wake up? Did you see AOC, that vapid, pathetic excuse for a Homo sapien? Did you see her with her pathetic lip quivering that we almost died? We almost died. And those police officers did such a wonderful job. And yeah, they did such a wonderful job. Those are the same police officers that a month ago you wanted to defund. Those are the same police officers that you condemned. Those were the same police officers that Democratic mayors and governors ordered not to protect the general population. But you want to be protected, you little twerp. Because now it's on your doorstep. Now all of a sudden police are good. Murder's good too. They shot a white woman. That's okay. 4 tours in the Air Force. Nobody's saying let's hang the cop, and I'm not saying to. But the reality is, all of a sudden, there's no big investigation. I don't see people walking up and down the sign with objections to her being shot to death when she was unarmed. No, this is a giant double standard. This country's all full of crap. And that's what we're doing. We're going down a road to fascism. We're going down a road to destroy this nation, and we're repeating history again. You know why? I was reminded of that when he talked about ethnicity. And one of my favorite, the 442 division, the Nisi division in World War II. I talk about it all the time. The 442nd was the most decorated unit in military history. In less than 2 years of combat, they earned 18,000 awards, 9,486 Purple Hearts, 4,000 Bronze Stars, 21 Medals of Honor, in addition to thousands of other awards. And I had the honor of meeting 2 of the 3 remaining living members of the 442 at a Medal of Honor dinner. Those people did all this for their country when they were being discriminated because the color of their skin. Their wives, their daughters, their fathers, their grandfathers and grandmothers were stuck in concentration camps, given inferior medical, inferior rations. They were treated as enemies of the state because of the color of their skin. No German, no one of German descent was thrown into a concentration camp. Did we learn from that? Hell no. Hell no. We still have a bunch of politicians in that swamp flipping every time they want to for their own political whims and powers. All they want is power. They don't give a damn about you. Now all of a sudden AOC likes the police? You think we forgot that she was the leader of the defund the police movement? You think that we forgot that you ordered police officers not to protect the citizens of Portland, Oregon, not to protect the citizens and business owners of the city of Seattle? You ordered police not to do their job, and when they did it, you persecuted them. That's why this swamp has to be drained. Today, Monday is Martin Luther King Day. And it isn't amazing when they only like to quote him when it does their bidding, when they said, you know, riots are the language of the unheard. I think Martin Luther King's two greatest quotes were, he was longing for the day when people will be judged on the content of their character rather than the color of their skin. And that day is getting farther and farther away, not closer and closer. And the other thing he said is, when you disobey a law to protest a law, you should be prepared to go to jail because you violated a law. That's the ultimate act, like Nelson Mandela did. How long did Nelson Mandela stay in prison? To prove a point that apartheid was not correct. He didn't say, well, I'm going to disobey the apartheid law, but you can't put me in jail. But no, we have our vice president-elect raising bail money for people who destroyed property, violated our constitutional rights to peace and tranquility. And now they're turning around, and all of a sudden, now here comes all the hyperbole now. Now everything's twisted. Now everybody is a white supremacist. Everybody's got a label. And they think that, how dumb are you? Let me close this because I'm so infuriated every time I turn on the TV. Let me explain something to you, pinheads. Nobody gives a shit about you. If you're poor, they don't care about you. If you're poor in yellow, if you're poor in brown, if you're poor in black, if you're poor in white, if you're poor in red, if you're poor and you're a Martian, nobody gives a damn about you. Did you see the PBS leaked video of the lawyer from PBS saying that all these Trump supporters and anybody with a different opinion than him, he was so happy that the red states are spiking and that these people are dying. He actually said he was really pleased. And then he said we should take their children and put them in re-education camps. That's what Hitler did. That's what Stalin did. That's what all the despots did. That's what all the people who practice tyranny do. They're going to re-educate you so you can think just like them. And this is what this man said. And then he said, because it doesn't matter because they're all dumb. See, they equate not being a billionaire or a millionaire with being stupid. They don't respect the fact that you go in and do an honest day's work. They don't respect the fact that this country was built on the back of the working man. They don't respect you at all. And as a matter of fact, I'm not going to pull it out now, but I've read the quote before from the 1800s that a millionaire once told a reporter, we don't care who's in office. We've elected a Republican governor on the West Coast and a Democratic governor on the East Coast. We own the congressmen, the senators, and we own the White House. We are the rich, and we own this country, and we will never give up control of it. And that was in the 1800s. So wake up, people. There are more poor people in this country than there are these idiots. It's time to kick them out. It's time to reelect some guy who just passed away. Remember that house painter on Rhode Island that got elected to Congress?
Yep.
He just passed away. A working man in Congress, like Mr. Smith goes to Washington. So don't forgive my rant because I'm pissed. I'm so sick of this condescending, you're not worth anything, and you are automatically what you are because of your color. If you said that to somebody of a different color, they'd be throwing you in jail for a hate crime. Now, all of a sudden, AOC loves the police and she almost died. Well, just like that twit from Twitter, they want to shape the world. Do you think, and about real world violence, do you think he knows anything about real world violence sitting in his $20 million mansion? Do you think anybody can get close to that $20 million? You think these people know anything about the real world? AOC said she was close to death. I say she's full of crap. Because I'll tell you something. Anybody that lives in a 3-decker in Fall River that goes out after dark is closer to death than AOC's ever been. Including when the Capitol was being overrun. Because they had people that were willing to give their life to protect her sorry butt. Every single person that lives in an inner city in Chicago is closer to death every single day they leave their house than any of these privileged twits are ever. And I got a couple of things to say about my little conversation with the mayor, but I'll stop then. I'll let you go because I'm telling you, I can't deal with this stuff anymore because it's out of control. Everybody is pretending that this isn't existing, and it is. And when are the people going to wake up? You know that Goebbels was right. You totally don't prove to them that they're right, that you're stupid. Don't let them continue to use the Goebbels. It's not Goebbels or whatever. What's his name said? It's Joseph. That's the way it's pronounced in German. Joseph Goebbels. And don't let them continue to tell the lies and convince you. This is why Twitter and Facebook and all the rest of these platforms are poisoning the well. Do your own research. But think about it. Do you really believe that these people aren't the most giant hypocrites you've ever seen in your life? You don't believe that? Just think about AOC. Well, now she's pro-police. She's pro-Constitution. She's pro-everything. But she's not. All she is someone who will manipulate the system and lie on demand. That's what makes her a politician. So I can't deal with this anymore. I wish I was 20 years younger so I could leave the country, because that's what I would do. This country is becoming this country is becoming an absolute shambles. I mean, we're going in the opposite direction. Our forefathers came here, picked up rifles, muskets at the time, to fight the most powerful army on the planet Earth, to create freedom for us, freedom from discrimination. They were people of different religions who were persecuted in Europe. And they came here and they put aside their religious differences and understood that this country was supposed to be a melting pot. It was not supposed to be a bunch of people identified by race, color, or ethnicity. This was supposed to be the United States of America. It was supposed to be a government of all the people, by all the people, and for all the people. And we're getting farther and farther away every single day.
Let's put our Constitution on the shelf, right?
That's right. Discretionary document.
Yeah, seems to be that way. Well, I hate to change the subject a little bit, but we spoke ad infinitum on the school department hiring a nurse, an LPN, who wasn't qualified, and as I said, wasn't qualified because she wasn't a baccalaureate prepared nurse. Well, I received information from a high-ranking school department person, and here's what it says. I just want to let you know that the position that you referenced was not hired as a school nurse, the school committee, created a new position for LPN due to the COVID-19 situation. This did not require DESE certification as a school nurse. So as you see, if you are related to an elected politician, you get a job created for you. Mr. Mayor, shame, shame, shame. Sorry. Now, what happens if this is a COVID-related job? What happens when the COVID funding runs out? Do we put her on staff somewhere else? Again, shame, shame, shame. I've got this information, and no, I'm not going to say where I got it from, but it's a high-ranking school department person. So, and it was sent to me, and I'll tell you now, not a good thing. Not a good thing that we're seeing that jobs are being created for elected officials in the school department. Not good. Not good at all. And that's one of them. 2, you've got another person who's got a daughter working in the school department. 3, you've got another person who's got a brother working in the school department. That's 3 people right there. And Mr. Mayor, based on the ethics letter that you received, the ethics opinion that you received, those 3 school committee members should have recused themselves from the vote. So I am telling you now, and for the record, I am filing formal ethics complaint violations with a copy of your opinion letter with the Ethics Commission. Because those 3 have as put in that letter, a financial interest. Therefore, they violated the law. And let's see if the Ethics Commission has any backbone to back up their own opinion letter. I told you this letter would cut both ways, and now it's going to start cutting. Now it's going to start cutting.
Well,
there's no more game.
Yeah, well, you know, what's far more troubling is the fact that they not only created these jobs, they created this job for this individual, but there was a quid pro quo, to use a word that's been bounced around like a ping pong ball in Washington for a while now. There was a quid pro quo. The allegation is that the quid pro quo was that they were not going to air anything about the superintendent in public, that they were not going to do anything. They were going to sweep it under the rug. The superintendent, who, if you read the Herald News article, has said things like calling people bozos, has a history. And I believe one of the best quotes that was in there, and I'm paraphrasing it because I don't have the article, but an individual who the superintendent berated said he spent his entire career trying to be the most immature person in the room. I mean, this man had a history of acting inappropriately because people who are the heads of departments are expected to be professional. He's called people bozos. He's invited people to come down and call them liars. And listen, we've gone before the council many, many times. As much as you wanted to call them bozos, you know, we didn't. We may call them bozos on a show, but this is a show. But we respect the well. When you're down there, you respect it. And when you're the superintendent of schools and you're acting in that capacity, you can be guilty of conduct unbecoming that office and conduct prejudicial to executing that position by your behavior. And he has on numerous occasions, even before he got here. So that begs the question, how do we get these people? Well, the same way they tried to slide in the new city administrator. And then they said, oh, don't worry, just because he's got lousy reports and they said he's an incompetent, even in little tiny towns, we're going to give him a job. And, you know, the mayor called me and he was complaining, and I said, it's a family business. But, you know, I mean, we disagree on the definition of family, but the reality is it's irrelevant. Let me say this again so maybe he understands it. Because, you know, if you want to be picky, we can be picky. I think during our conversation, he talked about his brother who was the chief. He wasn't the chief. He was the chief for 3 days. And he didn't earn that position by taking an exam. Every chief officer in a fire department walked out of government center when he got that job, and he lasted for 3 days. It was a political appointment. It wasn't an earned position. Okay? Your brother was a fire lieutenant. He took an exam. He passed an exam. He got promoted to fire lieutenant. He retired as a fire lieutenant. So let's get that straight. So we want to be finite. But there's a greater issue here. It doesn't matter whether they're from, and we can disagree about extended family being included. But the reality is, whether it's patronage or nepotism, and I said this on an earlier show, it's irrelevant. What is relevant is this is what destroys Fall River. And it's not only the mayor. We call everybody out. Did we not call out Sean Kadeem for dragging in 2 cronies from Seekonk where he works?
Yep.
Did we not call him out for bringing in somebody into an entry-level position with all the people we have looking for a job in Fall River with the Bristol County, infamous Bristol County Training Consortium? You're telling me that if we had an entry-level position in government center, we couldn't have posted that and attempted to recruit Fall River people for an entry-level position? No, we got to drag somebody in from another town. And a politician drags him in. And then we got a lawyer from there, didn't we? He dragged 2 people in from Seekonk. So it's not only you, Mr. Mayor, it's the school committee for even hiring this guy in the first place and now squashing it. The Gang of Four. They got something for it. At least 3 of them, we know, made a deal. And who's the victim here? The city of Fall River. You have a person that's in law enforcement. Isn't it ironic that if this superintendent was not the superintendent and maybe hadn't given people some jobs and played let's make a deal, that he might have known our school committeeman in his capacity as a probation officer. He might have been his probation officer rather than the guy that gave his wife a job. There's a little bit of irony in that to me. And if people of Fall River, if you're going to allow this to continue, do not complain about the way your city, the direction your city goes. That school committee, after sweeping this under the rug, allowing someone to abuse employees, abuse handicapped people. What did they talk about? Spending $2 million on football fields. I hate to tell you this, but I still remember Brad Kilby whining about athletics. And I believe in athletics. I think it's a character builder, but you got to put it in priority. This city's in trouble. What happened when they said, oh, the poor kids, they spent $1 million on a football field. Where's that football field now? It's under the new school. Did we really get $1 million worth of value from that football field? I do not think so. And you know something? Even if we had to go borrow a football field for a couple of years until we got out of economic problems. But they don't have any consideration for you. You are the poor and unwashed. And as long as you let them defecate on you, they will continue to do so.
Well, I think I know where you stand now. without any question about it. It's very interesting to see. But again, we're showing you exactly what's happening within your political world that you have put in place, people. And this is the problem. You know, you put it in place, you complain about it, you gripe about it, and then the next thing you do is you go back into the ballot box and vote them back in. What kind of, I mean, how can you do the same thing over and over again and expect a different outcome? It's not going to happen. And the only person I had any respect for on that school committee last week was Kevin Aguiar and Paul Hart. And with that, we're out of time. Thanks for everything. Thanks for watching. Have a great weekend, long weekend, and we'll see you back here next week on Wednesday. Stay